Erika here with PrepScholar GMAT. Back today with a helpful trick for GMAT rate problems. As always, if you like this video, you can hit the button to subscribe and feel free to head over to our blog for even more great GMAT content. Links are in the description. Rate problems on the GMAT can be complicated. They usually involve multiple steps, require a bunch of unit conversions, and are written as word problems, which makes them all the more difficult to interpret. Many students read these problems and get overwhelmed because they can't come up with exactly how to get to the final answer, which is where today's tip comes in. If you're working on a complicated rate problem, you don't need to have a complete step-by-step game plan right off the bat. Take these problems one step at a time by doing the next possible conversion. So how do we identify the next possible conversion? Take this real GMAT problem as an example. So we have a pretty complicated word problem here. It gives us a lot of information, but let's look at the question itself. If the car starts with a full tank of gas and travels for 5 hours, what fraction of a tank will the car have used? So we're given one straightforward piece of information. The car travels for 5 hours. We're looking to find the fraction of a tank of gas the car uses in those 5 hours. Well, we can't convert directly from hours to a fraction of a tank of gas, and looking at all of this information, it isn't immediately clear how we're going to get there. But rather than stare at the problem longer, we can make the next possible conversion. We have hours. What can we convert hours into? If we scan the problem for the word hour, we find that the car was traveling at 50 miles per hour. That's a rate, which means we can use it as a conversion factor, which is a fraction of two equivalent values that lets us convert between units when we multiply it by a measurement. We'll put hours in the denominator of our conversion factor so it'll cancel, leaving us with miles driven as our new unit. Now, we could go ahead and do the math now to solve for how many miles the car has driven after 5 hours, but we'll save ourselves some time by leaving the math for the end. At this point, we have miles. What can we convert miles into? Scanning the problem again for miles, we see that when the car is traveling at 50 miles per hour, which we know it is, it uses 1 gallon of gasoline for every 30 miles. That's another rate. Let's use it to convert miles to gallons. We'll put miles in the denominator, miles cancels, leaving us with gallons of gas used. Okay, now what? What can we convert gallons into? Scanning for gallons tells us that the car has a 12-gallon tank of gas. So there are 12 gallons of gas per tank of gas. Can we use this as a conversion factor? If we go ahead and put gallons in the denominator and tank in the numerator, this lets us cancel gallons and gives us tanks of gas as our final unit, which is what we want. We'll expect to come out with a fractional value since we want the fraction of a tank of gas used. Now we can go ahead and do the math. We'll notice that it's actually pretty simple at this point. Cancel out a 10 from 50 and 30. This leaves us with 5 times 5 over 3 times 12, which is 25 over 36, or answer choice E. And that's how you solve complicated GMAT rate problems, going one step at a time by doing the next possible conversion. If you have any questions on what we talked about today or suggestions for future videos, please leave us a comment below. Thanks for watching, and happy GMAT study.